Hello, I'm Chloe Gong. I'm the author of The Secret Shanghai Universe and the upcoming Cold Wire, and I'm going word for word with Simon Teen. Cold Wire. A creak sounds behind me. I whirl around, lifting my firearm. Freeze. Nick Grant goes still. There's little light at the mouth of the hallway, so I can't pass his expression. He lingers in the shadows, only half his face visible under blue and flickering pink bleeding in from the billboards on the street level. Put your hands up, I say evenly. His hands stay where they are. His head tilts. You again. I was the one who almost got him on our last capture attempt. I had blocked him in, within a few feet and my cuffs prepared, but then somehow he set off a glaring flash bomb. By the time I opened my eyes, he was gone. There's nowhere to run, I say. Put your hands up, or I have instructions to shoot. You know, it's never made sense to me why wards work for Nullcorp, Nick says. His tone is easy, as though we're making small talk on the bus. It may be law that you enroll in military school, but no law says you have to continue on as a corporate soldier to clear your debt. What's your opinion? I keep my arm steady. I don't speak my question aloud, but yes, I know you're a ward, he says, answering it anyway. Ireli Ward. I looked you up. I'm giving you 3 seconds. It's not a far cry to see a Medan face in Ottawa and assume they're a ward. When the Cold War between Ottawa and Meadowloaf started, most Medans living in Ottawa decided to flee rather than be treated as the enemy. For centuries, there had been a significant presence of Medan immigrants in Ottawa, and within a few years, as people raised the funds to escape to Siga or another island in the Western Territories, the number dropped to paltry amounts. Those who remain now either have too many ties to give up, or they're orphans, born into this war with nowhere else to go. Wards of the state, branded as property of Ottawa down to the very name. Nick Grant takes a step forward. I shoot. In this scene, we are meeting Nick Grant for the first time, which is very, very exciting and fun. He's a bit of a favorite among early readers. Believe it or not, I think I might have rewritten the first chapter 10 times maybe in early drafts of Cold Wire. But in this scene, we have Ireli Ward, corporate soldier, a little jaded with life, and her and her unit are going in to capture the country's most notorious criminal, insurgent, bomb thrower, etc. When she corners him, instead of running for it, he's kind of sassing her, and it was funny to write. This scene in particular was very interesting to work on because my hope is that when people reread it, the scene will have so much extra additional context that will enhance the reading experience. There are many things that happen as the plot unravels and tumbles into each other that will hopefully change a reader's outlook on these characters when they go back to the beginning. I think Cyberpunk is so incredibly specific. It has certain themes it has to tackle, or else it doesn't make it a cyberpunk. Cyber, very technologically heavy, and punk, you're raging against the man. If it's not raging against the man, I fear it's not cyberpunk. But there was something very interesting to me that I started noticing as I was studying literature. Cyberpunk seems to take Asian aesthetics, and very rarely was it ever talking about that explicitly on screen. It was sort of doing a subliminal, the fallen future is the Asian future. And that was interesting to me. There was something about it that I hadn't quite understood until I was reading up on this concept, this very fancy, not really fancy, but academic concept called techno-orientalism. It's not exactly a conscious thing, but when cyberpunk as a subgenre was emerging, this was the political influence that was leading these writers to imagine these worlds. As I was finishing up the Secret Shanghai universe, I was moving out of historical fantasy, and I thought, what is the next thing that I want to tackle that has the same kind of love of world building and extensive research, but still feels super, super different? And cyberpunk dystopian was the answer. Cold Wire versus the Shakespearean retellings was just as research heavy, but in a different way. So my Shakespearean retellings had 2 branches of research that I was going heavily into. It was the Shakespearean text itself and my engagement with it, my understanding of the themes, as well as the historical period, 1920 Shanghai or 1930 Shanghai that I was writing from. and making sure that I was perfectly meshing in the reason why I was doing something historical and a retelling at the same time, making sure that they were in conversation with each other. With Coldwire being cyberpunk, I was doing the same level of, let me read up on this genre, on how I'm going to write to these conventions and subvert them. How am I going to world build in a way that feels interesting for the genre, but is doing something new at the same time? Instead of just doing the research and being able to apply it to my work, there was an additional layer of, okay, I don't have a structure I'm working from anymore. I'm doing the research to open that sandbox up, and everything else becomes my own imagination, which was actually terrifying because all of the first few drafts, I would have plot lines that I kind of threw in there to try out, and my editor, my brilliant big brain editor, would kind of highlight that and go, Chloe, what does this mean? And it meant nothing. It didn't make any sense. I was just like, well, let's see if it works and if I can get it, past Sarah's eyes. And I could not get it past Sarah's eyes. And that's how I knew to fix up the world a bit. If I could get it past Sarah's eyes, then it would work. But if I could not get it past Sarah's eyes, I had to take it out.